Until you make the unconsciousness conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. Each individual who strives to integrate their own shadow contributes to a more stable social fabric. Someone who prides themselves on kindness may find it scandalous to consider their potential for cruelty, but if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected and is liable to burst forth suddenly. Be who you really are, no matter how terrifying it feels. A distressed patient once walked into a quiet office, moving with an air of hesitancy. Fear clung to him like a second skin. His voice trembled as he recounted a recurring nightmare in which he stood in a dim passageway, gripping by a furious rage to strike a faceless figure blocking his path. Each time he fought that urge, the desperation only grew stronger. He soon realized he no longer recognized himself when anger seized control. Terrified of where this hidden rage might lead, he turned to professional help in hopes of discovering a way to reclaim a sense of stability. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow offers a vital clue to such internal turmoil. Strong emotions and unruly impulses seldom vanish through simple denial. They burrow deep and manifest in sudden outbursts or paralyzing fears. Everyone carries a shadow, Jung wrote, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. Suppressed feelings and secret longings store tremendous energy behind the scenes, waiting for vulnerable moments to break loose. Unacknowledged phases of the psyche can be lethal when their rightful place in conscious awareness goes unaddressed. Yet the willingness to investigate uncomfortable corners of one's mind unlocks the possibility of transformation. Openness to even the most unsettling emotions illuminates pathways for genuine healing and self-understanding, an ongoing journey that leads to deeper recognition of personal dimension and hidden qualities. Many people feel blindsided by moments of uncontrollable rage or crippling self-doubt. It seems as though an invisible force wields power in the background. Jung captures this phenomenon by defining the shadow as that part of personality relegated to the unconscious, because it conflicts with the conscious self-image. Someone who prides themselves on kindness may find it scandalous to consider their potential for cruelty. However, these rejected traits do not disappear. They remain buried, only to surface in abrupt outbursts or unsettling dreams. Indications of one's personal shadow often appear through moral conflicts and sudden emotional surges. Picture the quiet coworker who erupts in fury at a minor critique, or the reserved friend who flies into a jealous rage when another gains the spotlight. Awareness of these dormant or unseemly qualities offers an antidote. By naming the beast lurking into the basement, you reclaim a measure of control and lessen its toxic impact. Human beings sometimes project their own denied trait onto convenient targets. You might notice intense dislike for someone who exhibits characteristics subtly present in your hidden self. A disdain for arrogance, for instance, may reflect unacknowledged vanity. Extreme moral righteousness might mask unconfessed guilt. Jungian speak of projection as a natural but misleading psychological defense that pushes uncomfortable truth outside personal awareness. Upon reflection, however, the logic behind it becomes evident. Owning personal shortcomings prove painful, so the psyche attempts to evade them. Acceptance of the personal shadow promotes integration. You acknowledge every piece of your psychological puzzle rather than pretending that only the acceptable parts count. This integration fosters integrity and stability. Those who manage to face inner darkness also tap dormant energies that enhance empathy, creativity, and emotional depth. Jung pointed out that positive traits too can hide in the shadow if societal rules or personal beliefs deem them unacceptable. Assertiveness or ambition might be relegated to the shadow when someone grows up equating confidence with arrogance. Recognizing that shadow work involves discovering hidden treasures alongside confronting unwelcome impulses can be both liberating and transformative. Within Jung's conceptual framework, the personality comprises an array of structure in constant interplay. Persona represents the socially constructed face presented to the world, shaped by cultural demands and personal inclinations. Consider how a professional identity or charming social mask can conceal raw vulnerability. Behind that facade lies the ego, functioning as the executive center of consciousness. Alongside the ego resides the shadow, holding elements denied by conscious identity. An additional layer appears in the form of the anima or animus. That aspect represents the soul image, the inner counterpart of the external gender identity. It often communicates with consciousness through dreams and can be projected onto individuals in real life. These layers combine to form a multifaceted psyche where repressed qualities gather in the shadow and reveal themselves through symbols, fantasies, or abrupt emotional reactions. On occasion, people come face to face with the shadow during moments of crisis or self-doubt, promoting them to seek deeper answers. Echoing earlier statements, Jung highlights that acknowledging dark impulses serves not only to glorify them, but to prevent tragedy. If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. Jung wrote, but if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected and is liable to burst forth suddenly. The impetus for shadow integration grows from the recognition of potential harm unleashed by disowned aspect of the self. You might notice that unaddressed anger can poison relationship or that unacknowledged envy sows bitterness. An effective path forward involves balancing recognition with responsibility. Some find it enlightening to keep a journal and record moments of turmoil, strong reactions, or unexpected fantasies. Patterns often emerge, revealing the footprints of the shadow. Others turn to dream interpretation, noticing symbolic characters or situations that mirror neglected traits. Bringing unconscious material to light can feel uncomfortable, yet the result is increased authenticity. Shadow integration calls for honesty, courage, and compassion. The individual refrains from judgment and engages the hidden side with curiosity. Such engagement paves the way towards self-awareness, emotional stability, and a greater sense of inner unity. Confronting one's personal shadow lays the groundwork for tackling a more extensive concept, the collective shadow. Societies, just like individuals, harbor disowned tendencies, prejudices, cultural blind spots, and unacknowledged historical traumas. These collective elements remain submerged until external pressure exposes them. Overt hostility can erupt in mass violence, systemic injustice, or the normalization of inhuman practices. Jung's cautionary observations about humanity's destructive potential echo loudly in the modern world. History abounds with examples of cultural eruptions that reveal repressed societal shadows. Recognizing this collective dimension should prompt reflection on personal accountability. Each individual who strives to integrate their own shadow contributes to a more stable social fabric. People who own their anger or confront their prejudices become less likely to inflict them upon others. Jung described how analyzing patients' dreams sometimes enabled him to predict societal turmoil. Patterns in the unconscious of individual would mirror a broader wave of cultural upheaval. This interlink of nature and society offers a sobering truth. Ignorance of the shadow can have devastating consequences far behind the personal sphere. Deep healing at the collective level demands truth-telling, reconciliation, and a willingness to bear the weight of past transgression. Apologies or public ceremonies mean little if they remain hollow gestures. Real progress requires facing the darkest chapters in a nation's history and acknowledging how they continue to affect present conditions. You might reflect on how thorough self-examination influences interpersonal relationships and fosters empathy toward different groups. Embracing responsibility for collective shadows can inspire reforms and cross-cultural dialogue. Resilience grows when individuals and communities learn to weave understanding and accountability into public discourse. Everyday life offers plentiful opportunities to notice shadow elements. Sudden moments of tension, surprising emotional outbursts, or a sense of discomfort often points to traits that have been overlooked. Rather than dismiss such signals, you can investigate them. A consistent journaling habit allows one to track recurring triggers and begin identifying patterns of avoidance. Inner work sometimes include examining resentments toward others, which might mask anger that has not been owned. Carl Jung's guidance resonates. Until you make the unconsciousness conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. For the affirmation, we can say, I am fully capable of achieving my goals and living the life I desire. Every step I take brings me closer to my success and fulfillment. I attract positivity, growth, and abundance effortlessly. Thank you so much for being with me today. My name is Fateme and welcome to Wisdom of Persia.